Hey, what's up? How are you doing today? We are going to talk a little bit about one of the things that totally screws people up in their business, especially in their speaking business, and that is their message, because you got to be clear on this. So, if you're here right now and you're watching because you're like, hey, I've seen her before. She talks about stuff like how to make a whole bunch of money using the 7-point cycle to 7-figure success. Well, before you get on that cycle, the first thing you have to do is you have to be very clear about your message, right? Because we talk about you want to make sure that your message is clear. You know exactly who your ideal client is. Once you find that ideal client and that message, then of course, how do you promote to them? How do you price, make sure that your product is priced appropriately and all that other good stuff. But today we're specifically going to talk about your message. And here's the thing. When you nail this part down, it is really the difference between being a speaker who is struggling and not just speakers. That's the other thing. I just had a conversation with my stylist and the woman whose hair I wear. It's, even though I always say it's my hair, but she owns it. I was just having a conversation with my stylist, and we were also talking about her message. I was talking to a woman who's an event planner. We were talking about her message. I was speaking to an executive of a company, and we were talking about their message. And so if your message is wrong, regardless of whether you're a speaker or not, if your message is wrong, then at the end of the day, your clients are not going to buy, right? Not your ideal client. So we want to make sure that you are actually sharing your message to your ideal client. And I'm going to give you, before the end of this, the 3 questions that you need to ask yourself in order to ensure that you're actually developing the right message. That's what you're going to do. So, first question that you might have in your mind right now is, who is that chick? All right, so my name is Donna St. Louis. I am not only an international keynote speaker, I have people on my roster, companies on my roster, such as, Microsoft, Starbucks, Discover, and then I have smaller clients as well that I absolutely love to work with, such as TransFinder. In fact, one of the examples I'm going to use is going to be from TransFinder, because they just broke yet another record this year, and they are one of my favorite clients. So I work with clients big and small, and then I have these other people that you're going to see come on here right now, and they are called my family members. My family members are people who have gone through the High Profit Zone program. They figured out the things they need to know. How do we get started making money? How do we master our business? How do we maximize making money? And how do we ensure that none of those money-making opportunities fall in the cracks? And how do we do all of that on the 7-point cycle to 7-figure success? In fact, a lot of my family members right now are in the 2020 Sales Challenge. And let me tell you, it's exciting. It is so exciting. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and give a big shout out, hashtag to my family, HPZ fam. What's up, y'all? All right, so let's do this. So one of the challenges that people run into is their message, right? And they end up creating these messages where they try to get it across, and they have all these flowery words, and they're not really clear. Once they define, like, okay, this is what I'm going to talk about, they are then not clear on how do they put that message together so that their audience, so that people who really should be listening to it are getting what they need out of it. The other challenge that they run into is that they're not sure, besides they're not sure of the ingredients that they should be putting in the message, they're not even sure of why they're sharing the message. And so a lot of times people get into, whether it's the speaking arena or whether they're speakers, whether they're entrepreneurs or whatever, one of the challenges they run into is making sure that their message is on point. And this is not just for speakers, this is for everyone. So the first thing I want you to do is, if you know of an entrepreneur, if you look like an entrepreneur, if you've heard of an entrepreneur, do me a favor and go ahead and share right now to your target market, because guess what? They're gonna be like, thank you for hooking me up with some information I could really use. Also, I bought my handy dandy spectacles, which means that I will have the ability to read your comments as they come across today. All right, so let's get this started. And I'm going to talk a little bit about speakers. Most people think that to be a great speaker, they have to go out and they have to practice how they orate, right? They have to make sure that they're dropping the uhs and dropping the ums, that they have great vocal variety, that they walk to the left of the stage and they walk to the right of the stage, and that they have these pregnant pauses and they end off with a bang. Guess what? That's not what it takes to be a great speaker, because speaking is not actually your product. Speaking is simply the modality that you use in order to get your product into the marketplace. That's number one. That's what you need to know first and foremost. People screw this up all the time. They spend years. I know a guy who spent years going to Toastmasters. Not kidding you. Years going to Toastmasters so he could win a competition. And guess what? He won. And still, he makes less money than me as a speaker. Because guess what? Just because you can be a great speaker does not mean you're going to make a lot of money. It doesn't even mean that you have anything interesting to say. I've seen people who are crap speakers on stage. For example, I'm going to use a very popular example. Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary Vaynerchuk is not a great speaker. In fact, many times he's looking at his shoes, he's kind of hunched over, he drops the F-bomb, he rattles on a little bit. But what he does do is he drops these great nuggets, and people pay a premium to get those nuggets. They're not paying for his ability to stand and speak. They're not paying for that. They're not paying for his oratory. You can get a person who's a great orator, by the way, and you can sit there and listen to him for an hour, and it's empty. They absolutely had nothing to say. They look good doing it, but they actually said nothing, right? So the product that you're selling is not your ability to stand and speak. The fact that you have that skill, yay, because you know what? Seinfeld famously said that most people would prefer to be in the coffin than to give the eulogy, because many people are scared to stand up and give a speech to thousands, right? But still, there are people who own businesses and all they do is speak. They go out and they speak, and that's how they get their product out, because they have something amazing to share. And it is not about their ability to walk across the stage. It's about that something that they have to share. So let's talk about what your product really is, because I know that right now I just blew up a whole lot of people's dreams because I said, quite honestly, nobody gives a damn how well you can speak. They just don't. If you can speak, by the way, if you can, and you're good at it, that's an extra added bonus. Thank you. Your product is actually your different perspective in your area of expertise and the ability to share that perspective in such a way that it transforms the person whose butt is in the seat. It transforms what they believe and what they think. I'm going to say it one more time, so listen to me closely. I'm not even going to make you rewind. Ready? Your product is your different and unique perspective in your area of expertise that your ideal client gives a damn about, and it is your ability to share that unique perspective with them in such a way that it transforms the way they believe and think, which then impacts the way that they act. If you are a transformative speaker, you are a very highly paid speaker, a la yours truly. That's what it's really all about. It's not about telling me about your shark bite. It's not about telling me about your sad story. It's not about telling me about being homeless. It's none of that at all. It's really your ability to change someone's way of thinking. The problem is we have too many people that do this thing where they are talking about, well, I'm going to change someone's way of thinking, but then they don't tell them what to do next. That's where your message comes in. So your value is in your ability to use what you say to transform someone. It's still transformative results. The issue is that most people cannot find that thing. They cannot find their message. They can't identify the value that they truly bring to the table. So guess what? Guess what? I got 3 questions and an example. I'm going to help you find yours. You're welcome. So if you haven't done it yet, go share this video right now. Thank you, Darian. Go share this video. Stevie Dawn. So you guys got to know, Dr. Stevie Dawn Carter likes to dive with sharks. She likes to, like, this is her thing. So she's like, but sharks, my girl, I love you. I ain't going to dive with a shark. I'm the person who's going to be in the boat holding your beer while you dive with sharks because I love you, right? I'm there for you. But it ain't going to, but my ass, this one, ain't going to be in there. I'm going to watch. I'm going to take my phone and I'm going to record it while you're in there. So if something epic happens, it'll go viral and you'll have proof. So that way you can use it on video later. All right. So hopefully you already shared this. Now let's go. Here we go. Here are the 3 questions, and I'm going to grab my little notes here because I want to make sure that I'm accurate. I don't like to give woo-woo information and not be accurate. Okay, here we go. So the first question that you need to ask yourself is this. I want you to think about who your ideal client is. Ideal client. Ready? If your ideal client was content, they're content. They have extra time. They have extra money. They have extra energy. They have no real issues. How would you transform them? How would you use your expertise to transform them? I want you to think about that. I'm going to ask it one more time because I know some of you guys are taking notes and you're like, oh, damn, she said that too fast. I'm going to do it one more time. If your ideal client was content, they have extra money, they have extra time, they have extra energy, no real issues. How would you transform them for the better? I'm going to use Michael Bentley. Michael Bentley is a director of sales, and recently he just led his team to another record-breaking quarter and a record-breaking year. Absolutely amazing. And that's what he does. So we had this conversation this morning. And so I'm actually going to use him because I want to show you that just because you're not a speaker doesn't mean that you don't still have your message, right? So he's not a speaker, but he still has a message. So when I asked him this question this morning as a person in sales, and a lot of you are in sales, we talked about this. So I asked him, so Michael, your client, they're happy with their life, right? They have extra time, they have extra money, they have extra energy, no real issues. How would you transform them using your expertise in sales, using your expertise as a director of sales to transform them? So I want you to be very specific about using your expertise. How would you transfer them? So helping them find their goal isn't enough. It has to be how you use your expertise to help them find their goal. So Darian, where you are a marketing magician, how would you use your marketing magic to transform them? Okay, so for Michael, when we talked about this, the one thing that he said was, a lot of times when you go to companies, all the leaders are concerned about is having people chase a number. Right? And I'm like, that's absolutely true. They just chase a number. And I know this because he's been working with me on my 2020 challenge and putting it up and running. And so he goes, yeah, so they're just about chasing numbers. He goes, and it's why so many people fail. They fail because they're chasing numbers like, how do I chase a number in regards to losing weight? Right? So you're chasing that number. How do I individually chase a number in, I got so many words for premature right now. I'm just so holding back. Anyway, how do they chase a number for losing weight? How do they chase a number for walking more steps a day? How do they chase a number for hitting their sales? Most people just do number chasing. And what happens is in a lot of those companies and in our lives, even during New Year's resolutions, we get bored with chasing the number. So we stop. we stop chasing the number. This happens in companies. And I know you're going, yeah, but those people have a job. How can they stop chasing the number? They're salespeople. That's their job to chase the number. No, that's why salespeople sometimes have a high turnover rate, because they get bored with chasing the number. So I asked him, so what do you do? What do you do to keep people out of the number chasing mentality? And when we talked about it, he said, well, I turn chasing a number, I turn it into something energizing and motivating. And then I create a team-based environment in which you're not just doing something selfishly for yourself, you're doing something for the team. And then we have this constant education, motivation, and movement. He goes, so you're not chasing a number anymore. The number becomes this energizing thing. So he literally energizes the number so that it's more enticing for the salesperson. He helps them, exactly, Kelly said it right. He helps them chase the experience, what it feels like when they hit the number, what it feels like when they do this thing for their team, what it feels like. So he turns the number into this energizing, very motivating thing for his people. So I want you to think about this. Your clients are fine. They're fine. And the reason I can tell you they're fine is because, remember, we're not chasing this one because he don't want to do anything. We're not chasing him because he's scared. We're not chasing him because he wants to see more information. We're working with these two people right here. These two people. We're working with these two people that A, want more information, and B, they want to take a risk. So we're working with buyers. So our buyers have money. Our buyers are fine. Our buyers have extra time and extra energy. Our buyers need that slight tweak to get to the next level using our expertise. So what is it that we actually do for them to help them get to that expertise? We don't help them find their goal. I help you find your why. That's what I do. But what do you do for your client? You help your client understand that your expertise with a slight tweak will give them exponential results. But you have to be able to communicate that slight tweak. Okay, second question. Now that you've identified the one thing that you can help them with, what was the cause? What caused the breakdown in that area in the first place? What caused the breakdown in that area in the first place? So again, when I was talking to Michael, I said, well, wait a minute. We got number chasers. Everybody number chasers. Everybody does it, right? So when you have all these people that are just chasing numbers, why does that happen? What causes that to happen in the first place? And we started talking about that. And he really sat down and he said, well, first of all, sometimes the number is arbitrary. They literally just pulled a number out of their ass and they threw it up and then they're like, yeah, just do that. So what caused the breakdown? So the breakdown was the goal was arbitrary. The goal was arbitrary. And because the goal was arbitrary, it may have seemed too big, unimportant, not real, just something to do. The second thing that he told me, he goes, there's a breakdown in accountability. Not accountability in a way of you better do what I told you to do, but accountability in if I don't hit my number, then my team suffers. See, it was all selfish motivation. And here's the thing. Money isn't a great motivator. So they had no team-based motivation. They had no reason why they should chase. And so he gave me like 3 or 4 reasons why there would be a breakdown within organizations. Maybe the leader didn't give them enough reasons to chase something. Maybe they were only chasing an annual number, but they had nothing monthly. They had nothing quarterly to really chase. Or maybe they were only working on a quarter. But he said what they really did was they didn't do a good enough job of breaking down the number into these ongoing tangible rewards that people could get. And so that was kind of a big deal. And then the last thing he said was, and then they didn't create these smaller team-based environments where all these people were competing. They didn't gamify it, right? And I was like, oh my God. So you just literally laid down what the problem was. So if we look at this now, I know 2 things. If his client is happy, what does he do? Well, I turn a number into a goal chasing experience. Number two, what is the breakdown? The breakdown is they're chasing something for a year rather than giving them rewarding milestones that are monthly, that you're looking at on a regular basis. There's no team-based accountability and there's no ongoing motivation. Wow, 3 things. We did this morning, by the way. So let me just be clear. He is not a speaker. He is not a speaker. And yet this morning, within about 15 minutes, we did this, right? And so I just love that. He goes, people don't get out of bed to chase a quota. Motivation comes from their personal goal. That is awesome. And so he creates personal and team-based goals. And then number 3, now that we know what causes the breakdown, what do you do differently to put it back together? That's your secret sauce. So I can take anybody's topic and I could literally say, okay, so what is the thing that you do? What causes that thing you do to break down in the first place? And how do you put it back together? Those 3 things make up your message. So when Kelly is talking about unconscious bias, well, what causes unconscious bias in the first place? Right? Because she does it in a way that people don't feel judged by having unconscious bias. Right? So she's like, hey, let's look at that. Let's look at why you have it in the first place. Recognize it's not really your fault. This is just something happens. And now let's talk about how we can put it back together so you feel more powerful on the other side. When we talk about Stevie Dawn, she talks about crazy, bold joy. So the first thing she looks at is, so her expertise is, how do you have crazy, bold joy? And she literally has a formula that says, here are the things that we look at. What is causing your crazy, bold joy to break down? Is it money? Is it time? Is it energy? Is it the people around you? Is it a lack of communication? Is it your inability to buy the things that you need? Is it your inability to take a risk? What is causing your joy to break down? What causes it to break down on a regular basis? And now that we know this, what are the things that we do to put it back together? If I talked about Kevin, and Kevin talks about the rhythm of leadership, right? When we look at it, well, first of all, what causes leaders to get out of rhythm with their people? You know, I always think about that, kind of like when they talk about comedians who get really, really rich and they get out of connectivity with the people, and they say, well, why do they get out of connectivity with the people? Well, because at the end of the day, they stop going to the hole in the wall clubs and doing their material there where they could talk to just regular folks every day. They're talking about millionaire stuff that the regular folks in the audience don't understand. So what causes leaders to get out of rhythm with their people? Forgetting where they came from. Like, he could literally break down, well, what causes the breakdown and how do we put it back together? Those are the 3 things that you really need in order to create a message and have clarity in your message that works. Now, here's the thing. Most people that come to me and talk so they can go from idea to making money. That's what we do. If you're ready, if you're tired, if you're done, if you're like, okay, it's 2020. Not only is it a freaking new decade, it's a freaking new year. And I know I said it didn't start till Monday, but seriously, 2020 does not officially start till Monday as far as I'm concerned, but still, if you're ready to take this to the next level, then it's time for you to let me know. I have high profit zone family members on here. Quite honestly, you ain't even got to talk to me. You can send them some messages. They will tell you the kind of craziness we go through. But there is a boot camp coming up, and the boot camp is where you maximize your money. So if you are ready to take your business to the next level, if you're ready to get into the high profit zone program, to find out if you qualify to be a family member, if you're tired of all the lack of clarity and trying to figure this shit out, and you want someone who's actually going to walk hand in hand with you and help you get your business off the freaking ground and get to the next level, then all you got to do is hit me up. Seriously. You can put a message in here that says, Donna, call me, text me, hit me up. You can send me a message. You can actually hit up any of these people that put HPZ fam, and you can just ask them, okay, is she crazy? And they're going to answer you. They're going to be like, yes, of course she is. You just watch the live stream. And then after that, they'll actually tell you whether the high profit zone family is good for you or not, because it honestly isn't for everyone. But if you're interested, if you like to know more, and if you like to get to the next level, all you have to do is go ahead and send me a message, and I will talk to you, and I'll see where I can help you. Talk to you guys later. Have a fantastic New Year. Happy New Year's Eve, because it's not really, well, like almost New Year's Eve, because New Year doesn't start till Monday. I'm sorry. First real business day is Monday. That's like, seriously, it's not really today yet. I know y'all like, Donna, it's January 3rd. Whatever, starts Monday on the 6th when business starts. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Please share this if you can. Have a fantastic, fantastic day. And I love you. Bye.